Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and we welcome you here to the TKDS Sports Radio Network. I'm Jackson Lycap here, and right now I'm sitting on 290 West 2nd Street in Xenia, Ohio, right here at this Marathon gas station at the four-way intersection. And we welcome you here to the Besser's Health remote. Ladies and gentlemen, the TKDS Sports Network and Besser's Health has partnered together. Let me tell you what that partnership is for just a couple of seconds. Us as TKDS Sports Network, we are going across the different convenience stores in the state of Ohio to place their new energy and function shots. They have a bunch of different functions. What are those functions, you may ask? First off is Shield. Shield will support your immune system, has prebiotic and antioxidant and 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, and will protect your immune system. The next one, of course, is IQ. IQ, superior focus and alertness, concentration and clarity, and it's an energy boost. The next one is Zen. If you ever have a tough day at work and you just need to relax but having trouble doing so, make sure to take a Zen. That'll put you in ultimate relaxation stage. And last but not least, we have Dream Power. It is helping with advanced sleep aid, no grogginess, and a fast-acting formula. Make sure that you get the most maximum amount of sleep that you can get every single night. But we go across and we are placing these in convenience stores. First batch is free, and we're trying to have people buy them at will. Then we schedule a remote radio broadcast. We come back and do a radio broadcast just like this. And then we will be able to talk about sports in the area, talk about things just kind of happening around the area. And we will also be coming back here to do a follow-up about our product in these stores. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on 290 West 2nd Street in Xenia, Ohio. We are just a couple miles away from Wilberforce University, and Wilberforce University also home to the minor league basketball team, the Dayton Flight. Ladies and gentlemen, we will talk about the Dayton Flight and talk about how there's the TBL season and the recap of their season. We're talking about a recap of the Dayton Flight, who's been done for just about a month now. We will also have their leading scorer, Tayshawn Johnson, hop on the phone with us at about 11:30 for an exclusive interview right here on the TKDS Sports Radio Network. We're going to step aside. We'll be back here at 11:06 on the TKDS Sports Network. We welcome you back here to 290 West 2nd Street in Xenia, Ohio, right here at this Marathon gas station. We're outside, we're at a table, and we're talking sports on the TKDS Radio Network. This broadcast a couple miles away from the home of the Dayton Flight. So this broadcast will be recapping the Dayton Flight season and what they need to do coming up here in the next few weeks. The Dayton Flight, a lot of people don't know who they are, so we're going to kind of talk to you about them right now. They are a minor league basketball team in the third largest professional basketball organization in the United States. It has no affiliation with the NBA or with the NBA G League, but it is professional basketball. They do pay their players and it's pretty much a recognition league. Players will come play in this league. A lot of players who didn't get as recruited as they should in college, they try out for these certain teams. They make them. They play a season. Last year, shorter season, 24 games due to COVID. Next year, they will be back to, hopefully, and what we can hope is that normal season. But it is the third largest professional basketball organization in the United States. And the Dayton Flight play right here at Wilberforce University, just wrapping up their second season of as a team. And really, what was a great accoladed season for the Dayton Flight. A lot of players in the TBL will go play elsewhere as well. A lot of players will go play in foreign leagues. We've seen multiple players play in the throwback tournament that the NCAA has, or we will see them go play in the Big Three tournament that CBS puts on. We've even seen a lot of them. Eugene German from the Kokomo Bobcats just got invited to the Denver Nuggets Summer League camp. We've even seen a couple of these players from this league make the NBA. So, the Dayton Flight, let's kind of get into recapping their season. The Dayton Flight, this past season, trying to pull it up real quick, finishing with a 10-14 regular season record. Their roster, Matt Shuran, Joe Ballard, Tyrell Means, Jordan Bedford, Tayshawn Johnson, Josh Webster, Kelvon Fuller, Troy Cantrell, Myron McGowan, Patrick White, Patrick Terrell, and Chris Brand. But, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Dayton Flight finishing 10-4 in their regular season, and that was just enough to get them into the postseason. They finished 10-4 in the regular season, went on a nice little winning streak towards the end of the season, was able to get into the 4 seed. They were able to face the Kokomo Bobcats in round 1, but unfortunately they were swept. It is a best 2 out of 3 series. They were swept 2-0. Kokomo ended up going in to the division semifinals, ended up losing, and Indianapolis ended up representing the Midwest Conference in the Final Four. Enid Outlaws able to beat Syracuse Stallions to win it all just about a week ago. They are wrapping up all their championship festivities, just had a parade this past weekend. And again, congratulations to the Enid Outlaws. Let's take a look at the Dayton Flight season. 24 games, 10-14. Their problem was winning on the road. Dayton Flight, not good on the road at all. Out of 12 games on the road, they only won 3 games. 12 games on the road, they only won 3 games. They won those games against 2 against the Flint United and 1 against the Detroit Hustle. Detroit Hustle, by the way, finished 5-18. Flint United finished 6-17. Those were the only 3 games they won on the road. 3-9 on the road. You take a look at it, that means they were 7-5 at home. A tremendous home team. They played absolutely tremendous at home. 7-5. They were able to beat some of the top teams in the league, such as Jamestown, Indianapolis, Kokomo. They went on the road and were absolutely destroyed almost time in and time out. They played some good games, don't get me wrong. And they showed a lot of fight. And we definitely saw that at the end of the year when they were playing Kokomo. Dayton was just 10-14 overall. If you want to add the playoffs, 10-16 overall, 10-14 in the regular season. They were able to sneak in for the 4th seed. But here's the thing. Dayton could have been so much better if things just kind of went their way. 3-9 on the road. Being on the road, that's tough to win. 7-5 record at home, that's good. That's really good. Dayton, if they were able to even shift that record just a little bit on the road and finish such as 5-7, they would be at 500. They lost some games that they should have ended up winning in the end. They lost 2 games in Indianapolis on the road that they should have ended up pulling out. They lost a couple games in Columbus that they should have pulled out. They lost the game in Detroit, the first game in Detroit back in early May that they should have pulled out. It was just unfortunate events for the Dayton Flight. They went on a huge losing streak right in the middle. They had a long road trip, went on about a 6-7 game losing streak. But one thing that we saw from the Dayton Flight this season is that they showed fight. They showed fight. They started off the season 1-4. 3 of those 4 losses were at home. They started off 1-3 at home. That means they finished 6-2 the rest of the season at home. 7-5 overall record, pretty good. 6-2 over your last 8 home games. They found their groove. And this is one thing that we have seen from the Dayton Flight this year. They are a fighting team. Head coach Gary Armstrong has this team ready to play, ready to compete, time in and time out. No matter the circumstances. He's a great coach. And the thing with the Flight is, again, they started off 1-4. They were able to battle back, win 3 straight against some great teams such as Kokomo, who finished 19-5, such as Jamestown, who finished 16-6, made the playoffs. They were able to beat Indianapolis 16-8, went all the way to the Final Four. This team showed fight all year long, and to a point where it seemed like Dayton was not going to make the playoffs. They made a late season push. Within about the 2nd or 3rd week of the season, it looked like they had no chance to make the playoffs. They made a late season push. Columbus faltered a little bit, and Dayton was able to slide into that spot. Dayton got the help that they needed from other teams after dropping 3 of 4 games in the regular season to the Condors. And Dayton was able to take advantage. They were able to take advantage. They were able to go. They lost 4 games to Owensboro. That was tough. But this team just kept fighting. They kept fighting. We saw so many things not go Dayton Flight's way this season, such as injuries. Let's take a look real quick at their injuries. Matt Shuran tore his ACL in, I believe, the 3rd week of the season. He was out for the season. Joe Ballard missed his playoff series, I believe, with an ankle injury. Tyrell Means played about 15 games and then was injured, could not come back, or I believe it was personal reasons. Bedford missed some time with some personal reasons. Tayshawn Johnson missed the last quarter of the season because of an injury. Troy Cantrell missed about a quarter of the season due to an injury. Chris Brand was added into this about mid part of the season after Shuran went out once they got word that Shuran would be out for the rest of the season. And they were still able to do that. Tayshawn Johnson, their leading scorer, missed the rest of the season. I believe that he was marked out at game 18 and missed the rest of the season. I believe it was a hamstring injury. Again, we will talk about it with him here in just a little bit. He is scheduled to come on and call us an interview at 11:30. Bedford missed some time due to personal reasons. Tyrell Means missed about a third of the season due to some reasons. She ran again the whole season. Tyrell Means, that leader. Jordan Bedford, that sixth man. And they were still able to find their way in the playoffs. In the playoffs, they only had 7 players. That game 2 in Kokomo, only 7 players. That means 6 of them were out with injury. They missed almost half of their season. They missed almost half of their roster due to injuries. Kokomo, one of the best, if not the best team in the regular season. They did get stunned in the second round by Indianapolis. But Kokomo, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the regular season. Houston probably was the best team. Kokomo's right there with them, though. Dayton was able to hang with them. Lost by only a couple. In both games to the Kokomo Bobcats, it just did not go their way. They lost by 1 at home, and I believe they lost by 7 or 8 on the road. Being down half of their roster. Being down Tayshawn Johnson, Tyrell Means, Matt Shuran, Joe Ballard. They were down half their roster. And they were still able to play good and lights out. We saw many players step up around the area. Jordan Bedford started to hit shots when he needed to. Joe Ballard came in and was a spectacular defensive player. Kelvon Fuller, he led the TBO in rebounds, and he still played phenomenal when they needed him to step up. Dayton, after losing all those guards, went to a forward team. Forward and center team, where Myron McGowan was starting, Kelvon Fuller was starting, and Troy Cantrell was starting. We saw Josh Webster step in to the point guard position, and he ran that like a charm. The quarterbacking of the plays, Josh Webster stepped up just like the flight needed him to. We talked to him throughout the season, very humble player, did not get ever too high or too low, but you could tell that he had a locker room presence in that last quarter of the season. And that is going to carry into next year. With all those injuries, they were winning. They were playing good. The fans were interested. The league was interested. Think about how Dayton is going to fare when these players come back next year. Assuming they come back. A lot of players for the Dayton Flight will be going and playing in foreign leagues. Talked to all of them. All of them said that they want to come back, but their season in their foreign leagues where they're making more money, and it is a bigger type of league, because they will be playing in the highest professional league overseas or down in Mexico and so on, which are great feeder programs to the NBA G League and the NBA. A lot of them are going to play in those leagues, and we talked to every single one of them. Every single one of them wants to come back and play as long as their foreign season ends before the flight season begins. Going to play overseas, Tyrell Means, Jordan Bedford picking up offers, Tayshawn Johnson, we'll talk to him here in a little bit once again. Kelvon Fuller just signed to Australia. I believe there are a couple more as well. But if Dayton has some of the key players coming back, Dayton is not expecting all of them to come back. They want all of them to. But as long as they are having success in other leagues and other countries, Dayton Flight, Brandon Harper, Coach Gary Armstrong, we talked to them. They did their job because this is a feeder program into those leagues. They did their job. Ladies and gentlemen, we're step aside. We'll be back at 11:23. We welcome you back to 290 West 2nd Street in Xenia, Ohio, part of the TKDS Sports Radio Network and the Besser's Health sponsorship. The show is sponsored by Besser's Health. Ladies and gentlemen, their new function shots are in different convenience stores across the Dayton area and into Columbus and will grow to across the whole state of Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, at just the retail price, $3.29 to $3.49, depending on what store you go to. These function shots, such as just like 5-Hour Energy, will be available to you. They have 4 functions. The first one is Shield, helps build your immune system. Second one is IQ, that is more your energy boost. The third one is Zen, that helps you relax. And the fourth and final one is Sleep, and that will help you sleep better. Just make sure to go purchase them at your convenient stores. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Lycat back here. We are talking about the Dayton Flight. We have about 5 minutes, then we will take a small break, and we will then welcome Tayshawn Johnson as he is scheduled to call in at 11:30, leading scorer for the Dayton Flight, and we will talk to him about his upcoming plans and his foreign league endeavors and in his career endeavors, and we will talk about his experience with the Dayton Flight. Going back to what I was saying, Dayton Flight in the playoffs, 6 of their 13 guys were injured. 6 of their 13. They had 7 players. They worked with it. They played tremendous. Just could not pull it out at the buzzer. The Dayton Flight, they were missing that little energy boost. And that's what we saw Josh Webster give them. Again, some players going to play overseas. A lot of these players will be returning next year, but we might be missing 1 or 2 players from the Flight next season. But the future is bright for the Dayton Flight, especially if they can have some key pieces return, such as Tayshawn Johnson, Tyrell Means, Jordan Bedford, Kelvon Fuller, but I believe that his season will last into the TBL season. Josh Webster, Joe Ballard. This team has a bright future ahead of themselves. We said it pretty much all season long. 1 more year. One more offseason. Let them go get the key pieces that they need. One more offseason, and this, as long as they return a lot of their players, this team is going to be lethal. We already said that. This team is going to be lethal. And it is. They're missing one or two key pieces. The saying that we said all season long when myself and my partner Matthew Pennington were calling the flight games this year, get over the hump. Dayton was never able to get over that hump. They were at 500 4 times this regular season. They were never over. Get over that hump. That is one thing that we talked about with the Dayton flight. And they just need that one more key piece to push them over the hump. And once they do that, this is going to be one of the best teams in the TBL. And Dayton fans, you might want to start knowing who the Dayton flight is, because their games are going to be phenomenal to watch. The next level of basketball. That's what we want. Dayton, a great feeder program, has sent so many players to go play in other places. And it's just going to keep continuing. And as long as Dayton can return some key pieces, this team's going to be good. This team's going to be one of the best in the TBL. Ladies and gentlemen, Tayshawn Johnson will be hopping on the phone here in just a couple of moments. He's scheduled to call here at 11:30. The chat is open. Just another reminder, if you want to ask me any questions or ask Tayshawn any questions or just say any comments right here, we are paying attention to chat. Chat is open, and we are paying attention, and we will answer your questions, reply to any of your comments. And if we have any time at the end, we will open up the phones as well. We will just have to play that by ear. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to step aside real quick. We will be back here at about 11:32, 11:31, somewhere in there, as soon as we get Tayshawn on the phone. And we'll be back on the TKDS Sports Radio Network. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to the TKDS Sports Radio Network. We're sitting at 290 West 2nd Street in Xenia, Ohio, part of the Besser's Health sponsorship. Besser's Health have placed their function shots in different convenience stores around the area, and we are right here trying to promote it the best that we can. 4 different functions. The first one is Shield. It'll help build your immune system. Second one is IQ. That is more your energy shot. The third one is Zen. That means it is relaxation. If you've ever had a tough day at work, try Zen. It'll put you in ultimate relaxation mode. And then, the last but not least, try our Sleep. It'll help you with no morning grogginess and restful sleep. We're back here on the TKDS Sports Radio Network. I'm Jackson Lycap. And right now we are talking about the TBL and the Dayton Flight, and we actually now just have Tayshawn Johnson, the leading scorer for the Dayton Flight, on the phone. We are going to try to pair him in right now, so just kind of try to bear with us. And Tayshawn, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
We cannot hear him.
Can you hear me, Jet?
Alrighty, just trying to figure this out and see if we can get him on live air. Hello, Tayshawn?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jet?
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside for just another couple minutes, and we are going to try to figure it out and try to get him on air. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Hear me now? Can you hear me, Jet? Hello? Yep.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I believe that Tayshawn is actually on the air. I just cannot hear him through my headset, so that is kind of throwing me off just a second. Let me try real quick. Okay, Tayshawn, if you want to try talking again, we're going to try to pair you in one more time. If not, we might have to postpone this interview for another time.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do not think that we are actually picking him up right now. We are going to try one more time. I'm going to step aside just a couple of seconds. If we cannot get him now, we will try again here in just a little bit. But when we're step aside, I'll be back at 11:42. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we beg your pardon for that brief delay. We could not get him coming through and talking through our audio box. For some odd reason, it was not coming through. He said that he could hear me, but I could not hear him through my headset. And then I was trying to even look at the live broadcast and captions when he was testing, and I did not hear anything as well. So it was working earlier, but I guess it is not working at the moment right now. So we beg your pardon for that brief delay, but the interview with Tayshawn Johnson will have to be postponed for another day. Again, it is very unfortunate, but just would not work, and if we spent all of our time with messing with this audio box to get an interview, you guys would have been cheated out of a show, so I beg your pardon for that brief delay, and we are right back here. We got about 20 minutes left here in our broadcast. Jackson Lightcap here with you on 290 West 2nd Street in Xenia, Ohio. We're talking right now about the Dayton Flight and their season. And again, we've already talked about the injuries. We've already talked about the players and how they're going to be going and playing in different leagues. And we've already mentioned that this team in the next year or so is going to be lethal. It just really depends on how this offseason goes for the Flight. If this offseason goes tremendous for the Dayton Flight and they find those pieces that they need, this is going to be a solid team. Again, Patrick White showed a lot of hope. Second-round draft pick out of for the Dayton Flight, the second-round draft pick. The only draft pick to actually make the team. He played a tremendous game. He played a tremendous season, stepped up when they needed him to. A lights-out shooter. Expect him to step up next year and that year too, such as we saw Tayshaun Johnson. We just tried to get him on the phone. It fell through. We are not going to be able to because it is not coming through our audio box. And again, we beg your pardon for that. Tayshaun Johnson, his rookie season last year, played tremendous, but this year took a huge leap in the right direction, a huge step for the Dayton Flight. Tayshaun Johnson averaged 25.7 points per game. And when you add that with Bedford's 16.3 and Tyrone Means' 16.2 and Myron McGowan's 14 even, also with Kelvon Fuller's 18, I just saw that. That is a tremendous. That is just a tremendous offensive outscoring. The problem this year for the Dayton Flight were most times was defense. They definitely stepped up in that defense in the playoffs. They had to step up in the playoffs against a very good Kokomo team. A very good Kokomo team. They played tremendous on defense. And if they can carry that through next year in the regular season, there's not going to be many teams that could beat the Dayton Flight. We saw perks of that this year when they were able to beat those great teams such as Kokomo, Indianapolis, and Jamestown. When they were able to beat those teams, and when they went on that 5-6 game winning streak, went on that streak where they were about 7-2 in 9 games, there was not many teams that could beat them. When they went on that 4-5 game winning streak, there was nobody that could beat them, and nobody stood a chance against the Dayton Flight because of how great they were playing. That was them at their full potential, beating the best teams in the TBL. And not even by a little bit, but by a good margin. That was them at their full potential. I sent a tweet out earlier in the season when the Dayton Flight are playing like they are right now. They are the best team in the TBL. But that was the thing. Consistency. Get over that hump. They would play down to their opponent, go a couple games back behind 500, and then they would turn it up, get back to 500, and then falter again. They could not get over that hump, and that is what the Dayton Flight has to focus with next season. If they do that, nobody can beat them. There are going to be very little teams that can beat the Dayton Flight next year, and I am so excited to see the TBO back in a full-length season to see what the Dayton Flight can do. And I believe it's 38 or it's either, I've heard rumors that it's going to be 38 games or 42 games. I am so excited to see what the Dayton Flight can do in a full-length season instead of 12 games of last season and 24 games of this season. It is going to be so exciting to watch them play in a full-length season. A lot of you baseball fans, MLB fans out there, you played a 60-game season where every game mattered. This year, you're playing a 162-game season while you are getting hot, getting cold. You're going on losing streaks. Every team, even the best teams in the league, are going on losing streaks. big losing streaks. It's not like last year where you couldn't afford those big losing streaks. This year you can. You go on the worst of losing streaks, and you're still the best team in the league. That's how it's going to be next year for the Flight in the TBL. Going back to that full-length season, you can drop one or two. And it's not going to hurt you much in the standings. Going into a full year, because we saw the Dayton Flight, they would have gotten all their injured players that they lost around Game 16 or so, they would have gotten them back. Because in reality, Game 16 to Game 24, that's just the halfway mark of the season. All their players would be coming back that were injured. Other than, of course, Matt Shuran, it was an ACL injury. All their players would have come back from injury other than Matt Shuran. They were getting hot. They were playing good. This team, with all their players back, all their key pieces back, in a full-length season, would be one of, if not the best teams from the TBL. And next year, we will be able to see that. Dayton Flight fans, you got something to be excited about. You have something to be excited about. Last year, 2-10 record. This year, 10-14, not great, but made the playoffs and showed fight all season long. That's what you need. That's what you need. You got to show fight. In a tough, long season like they just played, you're going to have ups and downs. But you're able to push through those ups and downs. And mark my words, if there was a full season, it's either 38 or 42 again. I've heard rumors on both. If they were able to play a full-length season, mark my words, the Dayton Flight would have been over 500. Playing in the playoffs showed that. They showed fight. They showed intensity. They never gave up once in their season. And the Dayton Flight, they bonded together as a team. Next year, the expectations for the Flight, make the playoffs. Made it this year. It's kind of your stepping stone year to what could be something special in the Dayton area. The Dayton Flight. Watch out for them in the TBL. Again, assuming they return all their players, this is going to be one of the best, if not the best teams in the TBL. A full, healthy Dayton Flight squad playing a full season. We saw them make a late season push for the playoffs this season. That late season push this season is a middle season of the push next season. Every game's still going to matter. It is. But you can afford to drop one or two and not get completely blown out of the rankings. It's a full season. There's so many things that can happen in 18 more games. That's almost a full season that they played on top of this year. And that's one thing that's absolutely crazy. Is that this team, put them in a full season. Give them the off season. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Houston, Kokomo, they're always going to be good. High market teams. Indianapolis, high market team. Going to be good. The Dayton Flight, they definitely just want some more fans in the stands to cheer them on. They need a bigger support system. And that's what I'm doing, is calling out to you guys. Dayton Flight, basketball, a lot of potential. And I'm so excited for their season next year. I think everybody else should be. This was my first year calling and being the voice of the Dayton Flight. And frankly, it was the best time of my life. I was able to travel with the team that I love, announcing their games. I was getting paid to travel, a free vacation. And not only that, but I was doing it with my best friend, Matthew Pennington, who was my partner. He's been my best friend since kindergarten. You know, and it was just a tremendous time. 19 years old. And I was able to live out my dream. And I want to thank the Dayton Flight for letting me do that. And I am so excited for next year to redo it. And next season is going to be so much better than this one because it's a full season and because they have their players coming back. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But if not, we wish you guys all the best of luck in your foreign endeavors and in your furthering of your career because every single one of those players deserve that. The majority of the players for the Flight will be back. They will be. You might be missing one or two, but that's what every offseason has. And now it is the Flight's job to go in and find this talent. Bunch of combines will be coming up. The Las Vegas Combine coming up next week, August 10th through August 12th. Next Tuesday through next Thursday. That'll be the Las Vegas Combine. Dayton Flight will be out there scouting for talent. And then I believe that there is also a couple more combines, including the draft combine. That'll be held later in the offseason. The Summer League. And that is going to be where the Dayton Flight's going to find their talent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a basketball player, you want to further your career and you think that you can make the Dayton Flight, schedule a tryout. It does not hurt to ask. And that's what so many people nowadays, you got to take opportunities and you have to take risks. You have to. If you have a dream, you are never going to achieve that dream by sitting on your couch eating potato chips. If you have a dream, it is not going to come to you. That is one thing that I've been told. That is one thing that I've learned. If you have a dream, you have to push for it. You have to work for it. You have to go out on limbs. And hopefully it'll pay off in the end. So ladies and gentlemen, all these basketball players have a dream. And they're going to be trying to achieve that dream in the TBL and furthering their career also in foreign leagues. Right now, I want to go back. I know I got a little sidetracked. The Dayton Flight, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal for the community. Remember the Dayton Bombers, the hockey team? Just like that, but in basketball. You want a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, afternoon or night to go out and do something? Go cheer on the Flight. Dayton is a basketball city. And we've seen that with multiple instances. Centerville Elks, a Dayton suburb, winning the state championship for Division I. Botkins, another Dayton suburb, winning the state championship for Division IV. We got the University of Dayton, which is a huge basketball school. Sellout crowds almost every single game. Very excited to have fans back in UD Arena this year as well. And now we have the Dayton Flight. A team that here next year will be one of the best in the TBL as long as this offseason goes their way. We'll have to do a follow-up show about after the offseason. I'm sure that we did a beginning of the show this year. I'm sure that we'll be doing another one next year. We'll be able to recap the offseason and then be able to see where the Dayton Flight stand next season. But it's just the predictions. As long as they do what they can do, as long as they get the pieces they need and return the pieces that they need, watch out. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll conclude our show. Just another reminder, though, go to your convenience stores and try the new Besser's Health Function Shot products. Function Shots, the first one, Shield, will help build your immune system. The second one is IQ, that is more your energy shot. The third one, Zen, will help you relax. And the fourth one will help you sleep better, that is Dream. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go find them. The retail price is either $3.29 or $3.49. We've been out here giving free samples. And also, make sure to follow us on Twitter at TKDS Sports to know where our remotes are. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Jackson Lightcap. And make sure to follow Besser's Health on Twitter as well. Also, make sure to download the TKDS Sports Network app to watch constant games. Football season's coming up, our high school game of the week, and all the high schools in the Dayton area will be broadcasted on the TKDS Sports Network. Make sure to pay attention to iHeartRadio. We're up on there as well. And make sure to watch it, download it on your Roku Fire Stick TV, and watch the games on the big screen. If you want to catch the Dayton Flight games next year, should also be on the app. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for tuning in to both my remotes today. Signing off for the rest of the day, I'm Jackson Lightcap with Besser's Health and the Dayton Flight, and the TKDS Sports Radio Network. Thank you guys for watching, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.